So Jesus said, um, if we can make our eyes single to his glory, then our bodies will be full of light. And that's a very pregnant phrase, and I don't think it's easy to unpack um, in brevity. But I want to just share a thought about one very specific slice of that. So um, it's impossible to come to know God without seeing that full potential in all things and people. And what we see with our eyes is not just a factor of what is. You don't actually see what is with your eyes. You see what your eyes are attuned to see. So you see the visible component of the electromagnetic spectrum, color. But if our eyes were built differently, we would see different things. And what you see is not just a factor of what is or what's coming from outside and filtered by the limits of our perception. It's also what comes from within. So scientifically speaking, this isn't some sort of mumbo jumbo. Your eyes actually produce light. And it's faint as far as what you would measure with a sensor, but you can pick it up. You can do this. You can buy a light meter and go into a dark room and point it at your eye, and it'll register something. So what you see is a mix of what's outside going in and what's coming out from within. And when you have an idea of what God is like, to the extent that you understand him, or to the extent that that idea exists and is correct, because it's something that occurs by degrees. So you can know him a lot or a little, or anything in between. But to the degree that you know him, you will attach that grandeur of potential to all things and all people adaptively, meaning you take your understanding of what God is like and you pull it down from where he is and you project it onto whatever scope and situation or particulars apply to the circumstances. And when you do that, a lot of things change. You are much more willing to give of yourself towards that person or that thing because you see its value as much greater than its actuality, because you see the potential value as a factor of God, not a factor of whatever it is. And so you're willing to give more, and you also care about it more. So with things, this is a little harder to understand, but with people, to the extent that you know God, you love him because you can't help but love him. It's just a reflexive thing because he loves us so much. And you can't see more of him without seeing more of his love. Because he is love. Love is the composite of the attributes of God. His attributes are like the colors of the rainbow. And in conjunction, what they form is love. So the more you learn about him, the more you learn about love. It's the same thing as saying the more you learn about him, the more you know about goodness or truth or beauty, because all of those things have their fulfillment in him. He's the source, and he's the apex of these things. And so it's interesting that any knowledge that you acquire, because all truth comes from God, any knowledge that you acquire will actually increase your knowledge of God, even if the subject doesn't seem to have anything to do with him, because he owns all of it. He's the source of all of it. And the same goes for beauty or truth or goodness or love or justice or mercy. Anything that is valuable has its source and fulfillment in God. So, to the extent that you get to know God, you will impute these qualities in potential to all people and all things. And when you do this, it really changes the calculations you make in what you desire in life and what you're willing to suffer in life, because you see things and you see people differently.